Freelancer Codex podcast. Your host, Steven, and co-hosts Mike, Devin, and JD are all set. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins and let's drop in.
Welcome, Freelancers, to episode 44 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest-running Anthem podcast on the internet. I am your host, Steve, and I am joined today by my co-hosts, Devin and JD, and one special guest that we have here. You can see pictured if you're watching on video. That's Alec. It's not really him. Mike cannot be with us today. He is actually on vacation, and I think he's in Seattle right now, touring the West Coast. So he can't be with us. He's having fun being away. But I'm glad to be here with you guys with only 232 days remaining until Anthem gets its official wide release. I think it's 225 days. If you get it with Origin Access, you get 10 days early.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, not 10 days, but I think it's like 7 days early or something like that. I think that's how math works. But guys, glad to be with you. How was your 4th of July, JD? Did you have a good one?
I would say so. I mean, not much. There weren't a lot of fireworks where I was, but barbecued some ribs, had some beers, and went swimming. Had a big old pool party. Taught my grandma how to play beer pong, so that was fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Did she beat you playing that game?
No. But my grandpa managed to beat her, which wasn't exactly hard, but.
Your grandpa beat your grandma? I don't know if you should be like telling people that, JD.
He beat her at beer pong.
Oh, okay.
Beat her at beer pong. Yeah.
Devin, how was your 4th of July?
It's pretty good. We drove up to Silverton, Colorado, went up there for the parade. They didn't have any fireworks this year because of the forest fires that are right nearby.
You just probably drove right by all the forests that had already burned down.
Oh yeah, and the smoke was super thick before we got past the fire. So it was really cool though. They had a flyover like they normally do every year. The first jet was super low. He actually almost ran into the mountain.
Oh my gosh!
He was like, "Oh crap!" And you could just see him like he was super low, really fast, and he's like, "Whoa!" Slammed on the air brakes, and then tried to go up and over it and made it.
That's actually terrifying.
Yeah. The second one, he was like, "I'm gonna go a lot higher than that," but then he got to the mountain, and he just went straight vertical and took off. It was crazy. So
air shows are something that I miss. We used to have them here in Farmington, and they don't do them anymore. But I really enjoyed those air shows. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So guys, as our get to know you introduction for all the new listeners, just so they get to know the host, before we jump into our Anthem discussion, I wanted to know and kind of get a feeling of what your guys' first video game related memories are. JD, what was the first video game you remember playing?
First video game I remember playing that I remember playing clearly was probably Spyro on the original PlayStation. We got the PlayStation because the doctor recommended it would help my brother with keeping his hand-eye coordination and motor skills from deteriorating over time. So we got that Christmas, and they're like, "Hey, you're the big brother. He does everything you do. So play video games." And I did that, and my mom got in on it too. And we were like, my brother and I, we were so amazed with my mom because she was just constantly like so much better at it than we were. But then again, we were just kids. Like we were like, I don't know, 5 and 3. So
those moms got skills. So watch out for those moms. Deb, you got your first video game memory?
So I don't know what the game was called. It was on Commodore 64. I probably should have looked this up.
Probably, but that's okay. We're professionals here.
We're professionals. It was my daughter's 8th birthday today. All right, I was a little busy. So.
Oh, happy birthday to your daughter. That's exciting.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. But I remember we had a Commodore 64 for a little while, and there was some game that had these records, and your character had to like hop in between them at the right times, and it was pretty fun. That was kind of my first video game memory. Shortly thereafter, I think we were actually just borrowing the Commodore 64. We had it for a couple weeks, is all I really remember. But then I got a Nintendo Entertainment System, and the rest was
Whoa.
history. So
And
it was
all
actually
down-
technically for my sisters, because I was like 4 or 5 when it came out. I don't know. When did it come out? Whenever we bought it. It came out before then.
Came out in 85.
Yeah. And so I was only 3 when it came out then. So, but yeah, we got one, and then I soon took it over. So
Very nice. I think my first memory, I remember my mom playing. She would stay up late playing Tetris on the NES. And I think that's like my first memory of actually video games being played. I remember playing a lot of MS-DOS games. My dad always, for some reason with his business, always had computers, and he was always upgrading computers. So we went from MS-DOS to the next thing up, and I remember playing Donald Duck Adventures on that game. It was a very weird game. It taught you math, taught you about all kinds of different stuff, but fun memories. It's very interesting to see where video games have come since then, from those 8-bit pixels to what we have up here on the screen with fully rendered facial expressions that are mocapped and almost look pretty realistic. So
it costs
kind
a
of
lot to
exciting
mocap JD. I mean, the
does.
rendering alone for JD's video is.
Yeah, I guess you guys found me out. I'm actually Halleck, and I had to shave half. I had to shave half of my beard off. It was crazy.
I wish I could grow a beard, but that's neither here nor there. So, guys, today actually, luckily, we did not record yesterday because it was a holiday here in the United States. Happy Canada Day. I think that was on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was last week, wasn't it?
I thought it was Monday. I could be wrong. Well, happy late Canada Day to all the Canadians. So I hope you had a good one. No, I think we did say Happy Canada Day last time. It's because we're nice and more polite like that. So today, BioWare was kind enough to release the full 20-minute demo that they showed off to everyone at EA Play. This is the demo that we actually got to see twice. We got to see it on the big giant screen, great surround sound. The devs were there playing. Ben was actually up there giving the same presentation that you heard through the video. He did that probably a billion times
Live.
throughout the days. Yeah, live at EA Play. So I'm sure that script is burned into his head. There were variations from when we saw the demo the 2 times, so it wasn't something that was just pre-recorded. There were variations from the 2 times that we went and watched, and there was variations on the video that they released today. So I think we wanted to do a deep dive in the video. There's a lot of things that we missed while we were there watching it in person, just because I think we were pretty amazed by everything that we were seeing. I mean, being in there when they have a full surround sound system going, I mean, the sound adds a ton to the experience. It's hard to describe unless you're there, but it's way more immersive when you can feel those shots, vibrating through you because of the bass that they have in there. So there's a lot of things we missed, a lot of things we want to cover. We have got a lot of screenshots for those that are watching on YouTube or live with us on Mixer. So we're going to cover a lot of those things. Before we dive in, guys, you have anything you want to say to lead up to this?
No, I mean, it was really good. Obviously, we couldn't take notes while we were watching it. You couldn't record, couldn't take notes. You put your cell phones in your pockets. No secret recordings.
I guess we could have taken an old school pen and paper, but I don't know if anyone even sells that anymore.
That's what I have on my desk right here. That's why I took my notes.
Oh, they do sell it. I've been looking for pencil for years now.
No, it's good. I've been waiting for them to release this for a long time because it was really good when we watched it. And today I've watched it, I think, 5 times already. So, and I'm only just getting started. So
that's a lot of times. All right, so real quick, it opens up with us in the Strider, and this, when they did release I think they called it the trailer. They did the interview with Andrea Renee was there. They had the devs on board. They showed about 4 minutes of this demo at the end of there, and it started out in the Strider, but we just had a quick close up of Halleck. So as you go through the Strider, you can tell that the Strider is lived in. It's actually used as a mobile base. It's not just, an empty husk of a shell that takes you places. There's cables everywhere. There's bullet casings. There's bags. There's what looks like to be some stuffed animal inside of there, which is kind of interesting. If you look in there on the right side of the screen when you go up there, it looks to be like some sort of stuffed bear. it's the little details like this that lets you know that a lot of thought is being put into it. It's not just, it's like, okay, if I lived here, what would I have in here? Maybe you do have a stuffed animal that you had or you found while you were out there fighting off the scars. Looks like there's a frisbee, tons of electrical equipment, probably stuff that you need to repair javelins. Have you guys looked at the inside of the Strider and saw anything that kind of sticks out to you, like, hey, what is that? Or, this is the kind of detail you want in the game?
The thing I was wondering is, when we have different javelins, I'm wondering if, the plate that javelin is attached to, if it, just gets sucked down into the Strider, and then another one comes up with the one that you're on. I mean, I'm wondering how they change that out, or if it's changed out before you even load into the Strider.
Oh, you mean the multiple javelins? So if you have a Colossus or an Interceptor, I don't know.
That would be pretty cool.
It's your forward base of operations, so it's possible that there's more space that they kind of store the other javelins, and you go back to it.
Well, I mean, it's huge, right? So
it is very large. However, if you look, I'm just going to go through a couple of these pictures that I went through. So. Well, we can save it. I took a screenshot of something that we saw that maybe might answer that question, but I'm not sure. So these are kind of the first up-close shots that we've got of Faye. I don't know if she's the Cypher. I don't remember them saying that.
They're all ciphers, right? So anybody in that forward base of operations, they're all ciphers. Because any one of them can talk to you while you're playing, so...
So only one person can talk to us at a time. Like one person has the comm link is what you're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's what's his name again? Is it Owen?
It's Owen, Halleck, and Faye.
Yeah, it's Owen. Like at the very beginning of the demo, who says who's got or something along the lines of who's got the cipher chair.
Cipher seat.
Yeah. Who's in the cipher seat? And she says, "Oh, the chair's." Well, Faye says that the chair is empty, and he's like, "Yes." So it's like an actual spot like that they operate from inside the forward base of operations, inside the Strider. So, and it appears that people can switch between it as well. So,
do you all think this will be one of those branching story options we get to choose whenever we go into a mission? We get to choose who the cipher is, and based on that, that'll kind of change up the way that the story mission actually plays out.
I don't know if we choose who the cipher is, but maybe our actions kind of determine who they put into that spot. Maybe we do something to upset one of our crew, and so maybe they don't want to chat with us or something. I'm not sure.
Or they could be more hostile to us or more favorable to us. I mean, The other thing is that they might have like a personal mission that they have like a certain investment in or a certain stake in, like a personal stake in. And for like something like that, it's like, oh, hey, Halleck has like a long lost son that he wants you to go in and rescue. So all throughout that mission, like he's a cipher because he wants to personally oversee it. Mm-hmm. It could be things like that too.
A lot of options. So JD, I saw you put in the notes here. You wrote some eharmony.com profiles on these characters. So you want to go over what you think of the characters, the three ciphers that we have in our forward base of operations?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't really have much for Faye just yet. Aside from Faye looking like a weird, like, cyber nun of the future. But
cyber nun?
See, to me, she looks like that dancer chick that gets fed to... what's that creature?
Yeah, Java.
Yeah.
Java.
That's who she.
She doesn't get fed to Java. She gets fed to the Rancor.
Oh yeah, but I just said that creature that
Yeah. She looks like a Twi'lek. Yeah, no. I don't think she only has like 2 lines in this, so like there's not really much of a personality to see there. She's, but Owen definitely has. Owen seems a bit shy. He seems really excited to be in the cipher seat. So that's what I got from that. And then you have here that Halleck has nice teeth, which, man, that guy's got some chompers on him.
It's like, who wrote this?
But he has very straight teeth, right? I'm just pointing it out. He has very straight teeth. That's all.
Yeah, not to mention he also he's wearing I'm not sure if all of his outfit is necessarily like it is like just clothing, or if it's some of it actually it's like helping him with some of the injuries that he looks like he has, because he has like some kind of limp. He looks like he's seen some action. I know we see him in one of the cinematic trailers, kind of like drinking and looking at like a
Colossus helmet.
A Colossus helmet.
Yeah, from the story cinematic, I think we're led to believe that he was actually in the Colossus suit that was struck by lightning while he was out there on a mission. So I'm assuming he sustained some injuries from that, and that's why he's helping us out.
Yeah, he went out.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Storm, couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it looks like it was probably Shaper Storm, and he got hit by lightning. So that's what I'm guessing. I think he's got a bunch of necklaces on. Looks like they're like home beads that are made from something. Then he's got some cabling on there. Probably just some stuff that he's picked up, and now he seems like a super happy guy for someone that's probably never going to go out into a javelin again, but
maybe that's why he's happy,
because he never has to go out there again.
Yeah.
It's very fun. And he's got good looking teeth. I mean, maybe they have really good dentists in Fort Tarsus, or maybe that's something that they just don't have problems with anymore.
Yeah, their humans don't have tooth decay, so
that would be pretty awesome. That would push me enough to even go live on this planet. So next up, unless you guys want to talk about anyone else here, they showed us the map. So just real quick, there are a lot of areas on this map. So really quickly, from the map, we see the Eastern Reach. These are all named areas of this map. There's the Eastern Reach, the East Gate, the Great Falls Canyon, the Academy Ruins. The Fortress of Dawn is up there to, oops, I went right past that. It's up there to the left. And then we have the High Road, and we have the Abyss. And this looks like a very small portion of the map that we're actually going to get. Mark Dara did confirm that this is not the entirety of the map that will be there at release. There's obviously more things. There's more little trails. It looks like the orange trails are basic routes in between these areas that we can fly between. I don't know if all the blue is actually bodies of water or if that's underground.
I think it's water. That's my guess.
Do you think it's above ground?
I think it just indicates that it's the water. That it's like ground level, and then it goes wherever. It's just showing the water. Because the water is so important, because you can go underneath, right? So you can go into the water. So.
Right. And it looks like we do have some new icons that we have not seen previously in any of the other things. So we have the little arch doorway.
We saw that one last year. Yeah.
I don't think we saw it last year. I don't remember the arch doorway.
Don't you remember after they stomped those Scar and they were going by right before they opened up the chest, and it showed the thing they're talking about?
Deadfall Cavern.
Oh, Kim needs the XP.
Kim needs the XP.
Like
I thought that was the icon that showed up.
I remember that being like a skull icon though.
Yeah, I don't think it was Archway. I could be wrong. It's possible. I could go back and research after, but I don't think we've seen the arch doorway before. So it looks like we jump into the Scars and Villainy, and this one it says launch the expedition. So the expeditions, I think they were saying these are not. I don't think this is a main story mission, because this is one you can launch an expedition anywhere, and you can go into strongholds at any of the expedition launches. And then it looks like we also have two other icons on here. We have the Anthem logo icon, which I'm guessing is most likely going to be a main story mission. And then we have a skull icon, which I don't even know what that would be, unless that's like a world event, like the Titan, because we do fly by a Titan when they jump into here. So what do you guys think? You thinking the Anthem logo is main story icon?
Yeah,
I would say yes.
Story. That skull image was in last year's demo also.
Yes, it was.
I'm trying to find that image. I gotta find.
Oh, that's right. I think we probably have it saved somewhere. But yeah, so kind of new. The map looks really cool. I'm really liking the way that the map looks. It's a little bit more interactive. It's kind of more topographical. A little bit more detailed than just being a flat, select here to go here. And it looks nice. I really like the way it looks.
Well, you can see over by the East Gate there where it's kind of dark. I think that's their version of the cloud, basically, where you haven't gone yet, So
kind of like the fog of war.
Yeah, they're fog of war. So you can't really see it, and you have to go through those areas to clear it out. So.
Yeah, it would make sense that it's all hidden until you get in there. Then you can start unlocking the map and fast traveling, because fast travel will be available to us in the game, and we know that. So real quick, as we jump out of the Strider, one of the things I noticed as I was watching this, if you look through the porthole behind the Colossus here, I'm pretty sure that's Fort Tarsus.
Yep.
Right behind us. So it looks like we're just coming straight out of Fort Tarsus. I don't know if that means this is an early mission because we're so close, or just that we have to go to the fort, pick up our javelin, put it in the Strider, and then head out on a mission. Because you're right, the Strider doesn't look big enough to house 4 different suits and then be able to move them around. I would assume you need some pretty large, heavy machinery to load one and unload it.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? Just set it to the side when you throw another suit up there? Seems
it could always be a matter of like hammer space, like you guys, everybody here knows what hammer space is.
It's a space you put your hammer in.
Is that
like like how like Bugs Bunny in a cartoon would like just reach over his shoulder and like pull out a hammer like from nowhere? I mean, it's just a thing that they do like in movies and stuff to pull out things, but not really explain where they come from.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be.
I mean, maybe, but I would think they'd. Maybe, I don't know.
It would be cheap if they did that.
Yeah, I think you would probably go back to Fort Tarsus, load up what you need, and then head out on the Strider.
You think so? I think that would kind of defeat the purpose of your forward base of operations. Although, like that close to Fort Tarsus, it almost defeats the purpose, anyways, because it's like it's right there.
You could just jump off of the tower from there.
Yeah.
But. So, all right. Anything else on that? If not, I would like to move on because I did notice some pretty interesting things with this new Ranger Javelin that we were showing off. It's not that it's a new Ranger Javelin, but I did notice that there are some nice shiny armor bits on this Ranger compared to what we saw last year. So all the armor plating on the legs and armor plating on the hands and on the arms is very shiny. So I know it's not like a huge deal. But if there's options that we can change tints from like, a gloss, high gloss to a matte, that adds more customization to our javelins and just gives it that little bit more piece of making it your own, I think that's pretty cool. Just something I noticed as we were moving on. I'm sure you guys probably didn't notice how shiny the javelin's legs were. So.
No, I didn't. Matte black with neon green and orange.
You do you, Devin.
Pink, purple. What?
The one thing we did get to see the 2 Colossuses side by side. We saw the red Colossus, and then we saw Scylla, who was piloting the white Colossus. They look very different. Same form factor, but the white Colossus is looks a lot softer. I don't know. The edges are a lot more rounded. They're not as hard as the red Colossus is. The red Colossus looks like it was something that came straight out of a power plant. It's pipes, it's metal plates, looks like it's just slapped together. Anything you can find as armor, you just throw it on there. It looks like, the pipes on that thing make it look like it has a roll cage.
Yeah. Well, it's not even sealed up. So, whereas the white one is more sealed, like you can't see the back of the head or any of that stuff. Whereas in the red one, you can see through the hole in the top, you can see the back of the helmet that they're wearing inside. So.
Yeah, and the red Colossus does look like they have an actual helmet that you put on. The white Colossus looks like there's just some sort of black marble with an eye slit in there.
It's the same eye slit they have on the helmet, on the other one.
Right.
So.
But
what's the name of those Honda robots? Like, I kind of like those. Like, I really get that vibe looking at the white Colossus, like those like little like walking like Honda robots.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, it definitely has
a little bit.
With the
like
white,
the black, the face,
and I think it's very cool that you can have 2 colossi. I'll go Colossuses. There's 2 Colossuses, obviously the same type, but they look vastly different. So, no one wants 4 Colossuses.
Come on.
All right, moving on. Unless you guys want to keep talking about the Colossuses.
So one thing I did see before we get to this one. Was right as soon as they pan back behind them, so they're looking forward. You see on the left, we don't have a picture here, but if you look on the left, there's actually ruins from a civilization. It looks like it's a brick. Here in New Mexico, we live next to or close to a lot of Native American ancient Indian ruins. And so it looks like just ruins built from someone trying to live there, where they made some bricks and stacked it all up. Kind of looked like a castle, sort of, on the on the left-hand side there as you jump off your strider. So I thought that was interesting.
I'm wondering if, because it is so close to Fort Tarsus, is if that was originally where humanity stayed
Before they formed Fort Tarsus.
Yeah, before they actually built the fort, or if the fort was just automatically there and the Shapers left the fort for the humans so that they can fend for themselves, so they didn't have to start from nothing in a land where all these giant monsters are roaming around, because that would be probably kind of hard to survive, especially with the creatures that we've seen so far in the demo.
Yeah,
Having to hide just behind a couple bricks would probably be pretty tough to do. So I don't know, it is very interesting. It'd be cool to explore what's right there, just right outside the fort, so that will be interesting.
I did notice, I'm sure you're going to talk about the loot here before, so I thought it was interesting because when they picked up the first epic loot, it had a picture of a handgun on it. And so they did say while the loot is going to be more tailored to the javelin that you're wearing, that you'll also still be able to get loot from 4 different javelins. So I was like, hey, you can't use the handgun. He's a Colossus. But then I was like, well, maybe it's for a different javelin. So
yeah, I guess I forgot that the Colossus won't be able to use a handgun because it's too small. So, but yeah, that is interesting that they were able to pick it up. I guess they say it'll be more catered to, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they won't ever get those drops.
Yeah,
but
I'm hoping it's more, a rarity that you get stuff for the other ones, or I don't know, maybe not. I guess it depends on how much we want to switch back and forth, because it was always, in competing games, it's super annoying to get stuff for a different character that you never play.
Right.
Shard that crap.
Well, we don't need to talk about that, but the only reason I put this picture up, because as Jen is running through here, there's obviously a legendary drop over here by this epic drop. Mm-hmm. She just runs past it, doesn't want us to see what kind of legendary drops there are.
Doesn't get either one. It's just like, what? You're just trolling us.
And I know they said, I think it was Jonathan Warner said I forget what interview it was, but they said that epic or legendary loot was going to be pretty rare. So it's kind of interesting to see one so soon after this. That could be because of a whole bunch of stuff, because of older builds and stuff. But come on, you could just pick it up, show us what it is, and that would be pretty awesome. So we did also get to see the wave emote. I remember the second time that we watched the demo. Scylla did a second emote that wasn't the wave emote. I don't remember if it was like a fist pump or like punch the fist or something. But
I thought it was just like pointing. Wasn't it pointing?
It might have been pointing, but it was definitely something different other than the wave. But of course we didn't write it down because, sometimes
we're too excited about that.
Right. All right, and the other thing that we had on here is we showed them fighting a couple of the creatures. They were fighting the Scrappers, and the Ranger threw out the ice grenade, and they do have indicators for status effects, and that's something that we hadn't seen before.
I thought these ones right here were shot by the storm ice ability.
No, these were shot by the grenade. This is before the storm comes in.
No, this is right after it. Yeah, this one's actually right after it, because it's off to the side. It should be off to the right of this image over there, and it's like shooting it with the ice ability.
Either way, we do have status effects, icons that indicate what is happening. So I'm guessing there's going to be one for fire. I guess I don't remember seeing the one over the Hive Tyrant when it was set on fire. So.
There's a couple of them, because on the Hive Tyrant it also has ice and fire on it at the same time, actually, so it can be affected by multiples.
Yeah, so it's basically just an indicator of status effects, which will be really useful for setting up combos if you don't know, if you don't have an active voice communication between every member on your squad, that's going to be essential, because you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, okay, they're frozen. All I need is a high impact ability or an explosive ability that'll, get the shatter combo or whatever.
And it's very possible that the weapons and the armor that we do get will increase the effectiveness and the duration of the status effects. What we did see here, they didn't last very long, because they killed them super quick right after. They, did all their combo stuff and blew everyone away. But it'll be interesting to see if some weapons, some grenades, actually extend the duration of a frost grenade or of a lightning storm. or any of those other things. So a lot of options for them to create weapons that affect that also.
That lightning storm, man, just seemed crazy.
We also did get to see, as they were flying through the Scar encampments, Owen points out that there are wyverns there and they're being attacked by the Scar. So I'm wondering if those wyverns are actually enemies that would attack us, or if we can attack them also. Because as we did fly by, the Scars started firing at us instead of at the wyvern. So I'm wondering if those are other creatures that we're going to be able to fight also. Because the world is very populated. There are tons of animals, tons of wildlife. Everywhere that you go, everywhere that you see, there's something there. It's definitely a world that feels lived in, and it doesn't. I don't know if it felt cluttered to you guys. It didn't feel too cluttered to me.
No.
It feels open, but it feels alive, if that makes any sense.
I mean, the Scar encampment really reminded me of, like, what are those? Where's it in, like, Brazil or whatever? All the slums or whatever. Where all
You're thinking of the stacks from Ready Player One. I think that's what.
Not really. No, I'm thinking of Fast and Furious with all the crap.
Wait, you talking about the favelas, or?
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of as they're going by, because they're all stacked on top of each other, and so.
Yeah, it's also interesting to think about. Like, you have all these animals running around, and it's like in the most recent Dragon Age game, like part of gathering resources or materials involved actually hunting some animals. So, I mean, are there javelin parts or weapons that require, like the hide of wyverns or of these like glowing? Well, we can't fight underwater, so I don't think we'll be able to kill any fish. But
No fishing.
Think maybe some of the creatures that we encounter are peaceful, but we might have to kill them anyways just to get some cool stuff.
That's what we do.
We haven't heard too much of the crafting system, but I imagine as we pan over to a bunch of the other creatures, like the Titan that we see, the Titan looks like it has armor plating on it, so that can definitely be a possibility of getting plates or materials from killing a Titan and from killing the other creatures that we saw at the beginning of the video, because they look like they have armor plating on. And it does give you reason, and it does give you incentive to go out and find those things, fight those creatures in order to make a whole Colossus suit made out of the bones of a Titan, I guess. So
yeah, we're kind of getting into some Monster Hunter-esque gameplay of, like, kill a boss, get loot, make stuff from it.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that Monster Hunter has seen success from, and I hope the crafting system is involved and it is deep. If it's just a surface level, this is just a stopgap until you get to the really high-end loot drops, then I'm not a fan of that. I want to have an incentive to start collecting things. Otherwise, collecting things just seems very boring to me.
Well, I think, because they put it in free play, they're like, if you want to, go and collect materials and everything that you need for crafting, that's what they say. That's what you're really going to be doing in the free roam. That's the materials and stuff that you're going to find that you're going to need are going to be more readily available in the free roam than they would be during a regular mission. So,
yeah.
So one thing that we did see when the storm did join, the storm join animation was the same animation that we saw back in the 2017 EA trailer or E3 trailer.
Yep.
So that hasn't changed yet. I was kind of hoping to see more from the storm, but that has not changed. And then Ben does say that we've heard this before, but you can play with anyone at any level. And they did clarify on Twitter, because someone asked, if how do they have a level 1 storm javelin if we have to unlock it later on down the line? And they said it was just for this demo that it was level 1. So you'll be a higher level than level 1 when you unlock the storm.
Yeah. Well, I thought they have both so you have a javelin level and a pilot level. So.
So when you get a storm javelin for the first time, it would make sense it'd be like level 1 or level 2. The only thing that I remember bringing this up with a friend of mine when I was telling him about all the stuff that I learned about Anthem, and like we were just sitting down having pizza, we're talking about it, and I brought up that fact, and his question was kind of like how do they balance it with the storm? Like how does the storm compete with the level 30 players? like like in terms of like balancing overall strength of players and that sort of thing, so it doesn't feel like you're basically bringing along like basically just like a meat shield, you know.
Well, I think they're going to do it similar to Diablo. I think they're taking a lot of cues from Diablo 3. Diablo 3 does it where if somebody's a higher level than you and you join up with them as a lower level character, they give you more help. You know, you take less damage and you do more damage. The big problem is you have crappier gear, which is going to be the same in this instance. You're going to have less abilities, worse gear, but you'll still be able to kind of compete. And I mean, you're still going to be able to be killed, but you're not just going to be, you know, let me hang out in the back here. You guys kill everything while I just, you know, float along behind you guys and do nothing. So.
And I think one of the cool things that they showcase while they're going through this is when the storm actually starts the combo chain. That's another way that you'll be able to participate instead of just being on the back lines. I mean, the combos seem like they're very powerful. It increases the damage by quite a bit. So even if you are low level and you can start the chain, that's one more you know, round of damage you can get off of that combo, even if you are a lower level. So I think that's an awesome way to encourage that play also, that, hey, you can still be in here, come drop your super, and then we can combo off of that. So you actually feel like you are participating and you are contributing to the fight. So I think that's one way that it'll help out a lot also.
Well, and they showed off. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, that needs to go away or whatever. I don't want to see that. But it's like, I don't think they understand, like, I mean, it seems like it's really, the combos are really important, and they're stressing being able to play as a team and doing things as a team. And so knowing, hey, there's a combo going on here, you know, and we need to try and build upon that and try and make more out of the situation, because obviously it does more damage, you know. So I think, you know, once they realize, hey, I kind of need to know when that's happening, that they're going to want those notifications on the screen, you know, the floaties or whatever they're calling them right now.
Yeah. I also like that a lot of the abilities are on kind of like, they're not super long cooldown timers. So it's like it's not like you're going to be like saving your ability just to do these combos. It seems like your abilities come back rather quickly. So like there's a lot of encouragement not only to like go out and do your own thing, but also to be comboing with your buddies. Like it seems like it could happen very often, as opposed to just very, very specific circumstances with the right timing.
Yeah.
And I know people say that they don't like the numbers, they don't like where it says combo because it takes them out of the immersion of playing the game. I wonder how they feel about things like the HUD and damage bars over enemies, because those things are still there. I don't know, maybe I enjoy the numbers. I want to see the numbers continue to go up, because that's kind of the point, to see how strong you are. So
well,
I can understand why they don't want it, but I don't understand why they don't want it.
Well, I showed like the demo today. I sent it to a couple of my friends, and they're like, "Wow, this game looks really pretty. It's really nice." They're like, all those numbers and the big combo, you know, words and stuff. They're like, it kind of distracts from that. But I mean, that was their first impressions of it. But to me, I'm the same way. I want to see those numbers. You know, it's not going to be an issue for me. It's something that I want in the game. So.
And I think in this demo, we've seen a lot of combat, and we haven't seen a lot of the exploration. If you look, I've got a screenshot up here of the Colossal just kind of watching the storm throw down their super, and it's really cool effect, the lightning. But if you look around the Colossus, like at all the foliage,
yeah,
I mean, that's like the game looks really good. Like, hats off to the environmental artists on this game, because every shot looks like it could be a wallpaper that you want to put on your computer screen.
Oh, yeah.
It really does look amazing. The different foliage, the different leaf sizes, the different shapes, and how it's all crawling up on the rocks. I mean, it looks amazing. For everything else that's going on the screen, I'm very impressed with the environmental artists.
It shows, you know, they've been working on this game for a long time, and
so much of it looks handcrafted, and it's phenomenal. It doesn't look like they just, you know, threw like a bunch of different, you know, assets in and then, you know, put them here, there, and just used them in clever ways. It actually looks like somebody like put a lot of effort into putting like what plants where and like on what rock features, and like you said, it looks like a lived-in world, or the world looks very lived in. The world looks alive, just straight up.
Yeah, it looks really good. And then I did take a picture. I don't know what I did with this picture, but right before the storm decides to destroy all these scars down here, it looks like that they were harvesting one of the spiders for its venom.
Yeah.
Which is pretty gross. And I was like, so like, which scar draws the short straw to get that? Because you're gonna like go milk this giant spider that'll eat your face off and try and get all its venom out. I mean, how do you even begin to do that? I mean,
The new guys got that gig.
So they're like, there's always a new guy then, because obviously there's probably high turnover rate for that job.
I'm guessing, especially with us around.
Yeah, especially like, oh, here come the freelancers. You're just trying to milk and get venom out of this spider.
Just being peaceful.
All of a sudden you get a lightning bolt come.
Nothing to see here.
All right, and then real quick, so we get to see, and I took another picture of as we go up to the Shaper relic. Mm-hmm. And now as I was watching this, as we see the relic, the Shaper, what do they call it? The interface, the Shaper interface.
Yeah,
it almost looks like liquid metal spikes are coming up. It's being distorted by the sound. And I know, JD, you had talked about previously about your theory on how the Shapers use sound to create the world, because it definitely seemed like sound was playing a huge factor during this demo. Did you have a theory that you were playing off of?
Well, so I only mentioned this, I believe, in our own Discord. I don't think I ever actually mentioned it on the podcast, but judging by, an anthem is usually like some kind of song. We have the Shaper relics, or Shaper echoes or something like that. Like the motif seems to be sound, and my kind of working theory is that the anthem of creation is some kind of, it has something to do with string theory from quantum physics, which I'm no expert in. I could not even begin to read some of the books about it, but from my very crude understanding of it, it just deals with the idea that there are things even smaller than the smallest particles that we know of, and there's these strings, and based off of the way they vibrate, that determines what they are. So if this technology has maybe harnessed, vibrations and that sort of thing, and as anybody who ever saw the Magic School Bus knows, sound is made of vibrations. Like, these could be things that make these audible sounds, but it could be creating things by basically just forcing the matter in an area to vibrate in certain ways to create something. So like you vibrate, like a 1 cubic foot of air, and you'd say, hey, vibrate like a rock, and all of a sudden now you've got 1 cubic foot of stone. So, I mean, like I said, crude understanding, but that's my working theory as to what the Anthem of Creation might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think with everything that we saw about the relic, when it's going, it sounds like a speaker with bass on really high, like it's at an EDM rave. Just the way it's moving also, it looks like the way a speaker moves when it's turned up really loud. So kind of interesting theory. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Devin, you have any working theories? You probably have no working theories. You're all unemployed theories.
No, I mean, it's I haven't really thought too much about that. I've just been focused on other areas. I figure I'll let them tell me. I mean, I could think about it, but it's at this moment it's not important to me. I'll let the story unfold as we play. All right.
Hopefully, we'll get those novels that are pre-Anthem games. So as we go through, as our team of freelancers destroy a bunch of Scar, they take down a bunch of turrets, they put the echoes back into the thing, and then the thing opens, and they get to continue on. We end up down this tunnel, which looks like spiders have been living in it for forever. And spiders are gross, and spiders are disgusting, so death to all spiders. And it definitely looks like other people have been making their way out into the forest. And I know previously they said, hey, if you don't have power armor, you probably shouldn't go out into the wilds. But there's a lot of indication that people are still trying to go out here. So what are they going out here for? Are they going out to find Shaper Tech? Are they going out to fight the Dominion? Are they, agents for the Dominion? What's going on? Because there's a lot of people that are strung up in these spiderweb cocoons down in this cave. It's very disturbing. So
yeah, well, and you can see like later on when the first time you see the digesters spiders, the ones that shoot acid, like one of them was like feeding on, like it looked like a person, but it could have just been a scar. I mean, those humanoid looking things could be actual scars. I mean, I don't know.
And I thought that when the digester was feeding, I thought it was on an actual human. I couldn't tell if that person was alive, because then our player immediately ground pounds right on top of that poor person.
Yeah.
That was
They're not alive anymore.
Yeah, so like you're doing the work for the scar or for the digesters. Well done.
Yeah.
And then the particle explosions that we've seen are really impressive. We saw an ultimate ability from the main Colossus that we're following around, and how big the explosion is pretty awesome. I mean, it's not saying no, we don't want it to be too big because it detracts away from what you're doing. I think they're saying no, let's just go big or go home, because that's what people want to see.
They want us to be like superheroes, right? I mean, that's the whole thing, is we're going out and we're doing kind of superhero type stuff, and all this stuff is larger than life and huge. I mean, there's huge creatures out there, so I mean, they gotta have big explosions, gotta have something to put some hurt to the enemy. So
yeah, everything that we've seen so far with how big the flames get and how big the explosions get is pretty impressive. So
yeah,
really enjoying that portion of the demo.
Yeah, the particles, like when they first go in through the spider area and everything, and they see the dead big spider, I was like, man, those particles are just ridiculous. It looks so good. So
yeah, all the spiders should be dead anyway. So as we get to finally fight the swarm tyrants, big giant face hugging monster of a creature, one thing I noticed as the Colossus was flying around as they were shooting their gun, the barrel of the machine gun that we're using actually overheats and it turns orange. While you're reloading, it actually starts to cool down and goes back to the normal color. So kind of cool little details that you could easily miss if you're not watching for it. So it makes it feel like, okay, that's how a gun would actually function. If you're firing, 200 rounds through it, it would heat up, it would glow, it would get hot. Also, the same thing happens for the thrusters on the back. If you hover for too long, your thrusters will shut down, and the thrusters on your back and a bunch of the metal around the thruster actually starts to glow orange until it finally cools down and it goes back to its normal coloring. So a very cool effect that I saw. It looks really cool as it's happening. It's probably a great visual cue that your jets are getting too hot, that you need to land. So something that I did not notice before that I noticed as I watched it this time. So
yeah, unless you're the Storm, who can hover for a very long time and doesn't actually use thrusters. So
then you got to watch out for that kind of stuff.
Right. But
so
yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff.
Is there anything else that you guys noticed this time around that you didn't notice previously?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple of things we kind of skipped over. There was like the Ranger flare ability, when he threw the flare down there. That was pretty cool. Obviously, earlier on in this, they found the rune, which...
Do you think, oh, yeah, I forgot to remember. Do you think the flare is an emote?
I don't think it's an emote. I mean, it could be, or it could just be some other like ability that they haven't shown off. Where you got the D-pad ability to throw stuff out or whatever. I mean, it seemed pretty cool. I mean, it was actually of use. When they tossed the flare down into the water, it lit up the water, lit up the fog or whatever that it went through. So, I mean, that was cool.
Do you think other than that, it would provide a bonus of some sort during combat?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to light up some area that's maybe dark. I mean, we have flashlights. We saw that in the trailer from last year. I mean, you can see that the javelins have lights to be able to light up the area. So, I don't know how useful it'll be besides here's a crazy looking cave that goes who knows where. Let's throw a flare down there and watch it. I mean, it's some cool stuff. But another thing I noticed is, the enemies have tiers, as they're going. You have your regular enemies, you got your elites, and then you got your legendaries. And then obviously this boss here, And those, like the elites and legendaries, both have skulls over their head with like a single line, and then the legendary has a double line, and then this swarm tyrant that you're showing off right here has 3 lines with a different looking skull. To kind of give you a classification of enemy level and how difficult they're going to be to kill. So.
Right on. JD, is there anything that stuck out to you more so than previous times or that you have watched this?
Well, I mean, this time I just got to take in more of the more of like the finer details of the game and of the world, because the first time I was trying to I was just kind of blown away by everything, like seeing it like up close, yeah, it's
I mean, could you imagine if this 20-minute demo was like what we had a year ago? Like how much we would actually have been able to talk about instead of going over the same 7 minutes over and over again? I mean, they packed a lot of stuff into here they still have a lot more to go. We still don't know anything about the crafting system. We know very little about Fort Tarsus and the different people that are going to be inhabiting it. We know very little about the Storm, very little about the Interceptor. We know we're going to learn more about those towards the end of the fall. Yeah. So there's still so much more information. We know little about the Dominion.
Factions.
We have maybe a concept art about Dominion enemy, if that's even what it is. Although one thing that we did notice is they were going through their menus, they did have a bunch of their concept art as the backdrops that they were using. And it's those backdrops that have the moving, I forget what they call the images they're still images, but they have all the different effects going on them.
Yeah, the particles or whatever, the looking ones.
Yeah, but the Storm in that image actually doesn't have a cape. It has 2 like ribbons coming down on each side of its hips. So, and that also has the Interceptor.
Just playing flag football.
Yeah, it's playing flag football. Hasn't been caught yet. And also
confirmed.
Has the knife. And I'm assuming that if they're going to have that in there, I mean, that could just be placeholder. It doesn't mean it's going to come out that way. But I would assume if they're going to show it off now, that the melee weapon for the Interceptor is probably going to be that dagger that it has. So that's kind of cool because we did not see any of the melee attacks during this demo.
Well, I mean, we saw the Colossus, like, melee, like, in this boss battle when a couple of the spiders are close to him, you can see him, like, smack him, or slam the ground. He didn't do the jump and pound, but, like, he hit the ground and knocked him away from him and stuff a couple times.
Oh, so maybe the melee effect actually has an area of effect also on the Colossus?
I'm guessing so because it is such a large javelin. I mean, when I'm watching it, I was like, man, it just seems like it's so much bigger than the other javelins. And I mean, we already know that it can use either the shield or its fists to do melee damage. So I just thought it was really interesting right there. I mean, the sword, I'm guessing that is the melee weapon for the Interceptor. I mean, it just kind of fits with the rogue type of playstyle that it's supposed to be,
Right.
And we already saw the Ranger has, that club that goes out that has the electrical, the lightning damage on it. We've seen that.
The shock mace, I think they called it on Twitter somewhere.
Yeah, so I mean, that thing looks cool. We don't know what the Storm's going to have. I haven't seen any kind of melee for the Storm. Although with the glass cannon, I don't know if you want to get close enough to people to hit them. So.
Yeah, if you would want to be up and close. We did see a couple of the projectiles coming from the Storm seem to have a homing aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
The bolts that it shot out at a couple of the spiders where it actually tracked them.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. I'm assuming that's an ability and not a weapon that it has, but we didn't see any of the weapons from the Storm. I think they had a machine gun and maybe
I think I saw it fire like once at the Swarm Tyrant. While its other stuff was reloading, like it shot a couple bullets, but other than that, it was always using its abilities. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I think it was focusing more on ads than anything else. So
I did see earlier though, before you when we found, so after you kill those first spiders, and they have those 3 spiders that hatch from the eggs, that the Ranger had some kind of weapon that ricocheted, the bullet ricocheted and hit all 3 of them. You have to watch it again. It shoots the first one, hits the second, and goes back to the third, and kills all 3.
I thought that was the Storm.
No, yeah, so that's what I thought originally, but I watched it again, and you can see that the Ranger goes up in front, and then it shoots something, and it because the storm is still in the back by the Colossus because the Ranger takes point.
Because it was a blue projectile, right? And that's why I assumed it was coming from.
And that I thought the same thing as well until I watched it again just to verify that same point. But so.
A lot of interesting things. JD, did you have anything to add before we move on?
No, not really. Had to step out for a second. Had a little bit of an emergency outside. So
I understand, no problem.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to talk about. I mean, we're just barely covering a quick little overview of what went down. You know, there's still a ton to talk about in this demo. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good information. I'm excited. I mean, obviously, hopefully, we're going to get more before the year's out. We'll have more to talk about. But one thing that we will definitely talk about next time, I think we're going to touch a lot about on the story that we do know. And then one thing that has been coming up a lot lately is the idea of them not having a PvP mode. There's no battle arena, no get in and just fight each other, or there's no death match, no normal Halo Slayer in there. So that's one thing that's been coming up a lot, and I think we might talk about that next time also. Our thoughts on it, our ideas on it. I'll probably play devil's advocate and say why it should have PvP. I don't really believe that, but we need to have a contrary opinion, or else we're just going to be saying, yep, I agree, this game does not need PvP, because really I don't think it does. But a lot of people are asking for it. There's a lot of great PvP games out there that you can go and play that are solely focused on that. So if there's nothing else, guys, if you have nothing else to add, I think that's where we will call it for episode 44 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. This has been the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet. We've been running for, it's been a little over a year, going strong. Consistency and just putting content out there, I think, is the key. You can follow us at Freelancer Codex on Twitter. You can follow us at Facebook at facebook.com/Freelancer Codex. You could follow us all individually. We'll put all of that in the show notes. But tell a friend about the podcast. If you enjoy what we do, let someone know. Leave a 5-star review on the iTunes store. It helps out a lot. Or if you want to, you can support us at patreon.com/Freelancer Codex. If this is content that you feel is worthy of a couple bucks, send it our way, and we'll be ever so grateful. But until next time, there's a Shaper Storm coming. See you on the other side.
Later.
Bye-bye.
And you should come join our Discord. We'll put all of that information at the end of the episode. So you can come join the conversation with like-minded people. We've got a really good group of people in our Discord that are pretty active, and it's a good group of people to talk Anthem about. So without being drowned out about random nonsense. But that's neither here nor there. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I mean, this is look how happy Mike is up there. He's just excited. So excited. Have you ever seen Mike more excited than he is right now?
Never.
I haven't.
Never.
Mike, we'll have you back. We miss you. All right, I've stopped the recording.